birth of the Prince Siddhartha in Lumbini in Nepal, 80 years before the Buddhist era, which is 2564. So 2564 plus 80 years. And that was the year when the Buddha was born in Lumbini, currently in Nepal. But that didn't start it, the Buddhism. And that was just the beginning of a Buddha's life history. But the Buddhist philosophy started with his enlightenment at the age of 35 in Buddha Gaya, which is now in Gaya, India, one of the holy places, and that the Buddhist supposed to visit and recollect and reflect on the teachings of the Buddha. And it also confirms our faith that if we are diligently practicing, there is a possibility of enlightenment. So that's why Prince Siddhartha, who was born in Nepal, after his achievement, he became known as the Buddha, which means one who knows what should be known. And after that achievement, he spent about 45 years traveling from village to village, cities to cities, and with his compassion and kindness, he was sharing his findings with the hope to help people to find a solution so that they could overcome the cycle of birth and death. At the age of 80, after Buddhism fully established, he attained the enlightenment. Now, after his enlightenment, people began to celebrate different days that is related to the Buddha, and a certain events or tradition established in relation to the Buddhist tradition. And one of the days is known as Vesak Day or Visakha Puja Day, which is the day celebrating his birth, his enlightenment, and his passing away, Parinibbana Day, which happened to be fall on a same full moon in different years. And the second day is a Magha Puja Day, which is the commemoration of the Buddha's first congregation, which happened without prior invitation. And normally this falls around February, March. And this occasion, the Buddha's famous admonition is known as Ovada Patimokkha. So Buddha gave that discourse on saying that do not do evil, do good, and purify your mind. And the third important Buddhist days is known as Asala Puja. And this Asala Puja, again, the day when the Buddha gave his first discourse, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, to the 5 ascetics after his enlightenment, after he spent 7 weeks reflecting his findings. He thought that there are some who could understand. So he traveled to Varanasi to give a first discourse to the five disciples on the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, which is the fundamental teachings of Buddhism. And this is also the start of the Vassa or Pansa. With this beginning of a Pansa, it also follows another two events called Pavarana and KATINA. So today I would like to speak on these three different events. In a way, four different events: Sala Puja, Vassa or Pansa, and Pavarana, and the KATINA. These are very important um, events and also tradition that is been practicing even today in Delhi, in every year, in every temples. Now let me give you the brief account of the Asala Puja. Asala Puja is a full moon of Asala month, which is normally the 8th lunar month, called Ashala Purnima. And this is again usually falls in July, beginning of July or end of the July. In this Asala Puja, there are some lessons related to the Buddha's life. It is said that the Buddha took conception in a mother's womb on this Asala Puja. And it is also said that after seeing four signs at the age of 29, Buddha took a renunciation, so-called the Great Renunciation. So he left the palace. And it is also believed that he left on the day of Asala Purnima. And it happened that after his enlightenment, he gave first discourse, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, as I have said, on the Asala Puja. So that's why it is also known as the day when the three triple gems were fulfilled. So at the time when the Buddha enlightened, there was only Buddha and Dhamma. There wasn't any Sangha. So triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha was not fulfilled. And with the sermon, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, Kondanya gained the knowledge, and that's how the Sangha fulfilled. So triple gem, or Triratana, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha was first fully established. And now the same Asala Puja also later become a tradition that one should establish. Buddha established this Vassa, which every monk should observe every year as a rule during this 3 months retreat, and which we will talk later about that. Now, Asala Puja, as we know that at 29th age, he left palace on the Asala Puja, and he spent time with the great masters of that time, with Alakarama and Udakadarama Buddhas, studied the teachings and studied the meditations. And after the thorough meditation and study, he found that these are not the right path. It's not leading for the liberation. So he went on his own practice, and at the age of 35, after the 6 years of austere practice, he gained the knowledge, so known as the middle path. And his suggestion is that we have to get rid of essential pleasure, and we have to get rid of the self-mortification. So these are the two ways that people normally think would bring peace and happiness in their life. A Buddha is basically giving this idea that these are not for the ultimate happiness. One has to overcome from these two paths, and that will lead to the ultimate happiness. And the path that he found is called the middle path. And this middle path is, in a way, I normally call is the Buddhism. And here, that's why Buddhism deals with not what, it's about how. So it's a way. And with this, many also says that Buddhism is a way of life, and this path that leads to the ultimate happiness. And it happened that after the first discourse of the Buddha, the Sangha gradually grew. Many monks gradually become a monk and traveled, as the Buddha said to the monks at the first instruction. After the first discourse, the 5 disciples become a monk, and followed by another 55 people become Buddhist monks. And at that time, when there were 61 arhats, including the Buddha, Buddha admonished all these 60 disciples, saying that Charata Bhikkhave Charikang Bahujana Hitaya Bahujana Sukhaya Lokanukampaya. So that this is the beginning of this instruction to the monks, which means go forth to teach out of compassion for the world, for the benefit and welfare and happiness of the people. Let not two of you go the same way. Spread the two to all. So that was the instruction or guidance to a monastics that should go and reflect and teach other people for their happiness. And it happened that the monks began to travel wide, far and wide, and began to travel far and wide with the thought of spreading this message of the love and compassion and path that leads to the liberation. And they didn't stop even during the rainy seasons. So they had to, and now as if some of you have been in India, you may have noticed that all the paddy fields are separated by a small hills of soil. Now, if that's a rainy season, people will plant crops, and there will be a small alley this separating the fields. You have to walk on it, and as you walk on it, it will break. And if you do not walk on that, you will be walking on the paddy fields. So they have to cross through the paddy fields or cultivated lands. So they didn't stop. They continue to walk around despite of the rain and despite of these crops around. Continue to walk across fields and forests in order to spread the teachings of the Buddha. Now it happens that in due course, people began to question that why these Buddhist monks do not stay during the rainy seasons. They are wandering around and destroying the cultivated lands. They even said that during the rainy season in Asia, all the birds and all the animals will take a boat and take a retreat. But these Buddhist monks never took it. So as a result of that, it became a controversial talk, and a discussion or a gossip began. And that was the beginning. That was the first cause that the monks were on the discussion, saying that these monks are causing damage on the cultivated lands, destroying plants, destroying paddy fields. So lay people or householders began to complain about those acts and effects. Similarly, there was the second reason that householders or disciples of the Buddha sometimes would like to have proper teachings from the Buddhist monks and the nuns. But due to they were traveling all the time, they didn't have time. They didn't have an opportunity to learn the Dhamma or practice thoroughly. So in those days, other religions or practitioners or ascetics during this arranged retreat, during this arranged season, they took a retreat and teach people. So with this, some of the laities prefer to see venerable monks reside at one place for a certain period of a time, so that they would have an opportunity to go and learn. And these were some reasons that it came to the Buddha. The followers came to Buddha and asked that what would be the solution. What would be the solution? Therefore, after these complaints and suggestions, the Buddha also preferred, seeing the benefit that the monks and the nuns should stay in one abode, one place during the rainy season, which will provide the opportunity to hear the Dhamma and also a time to reflect and recollect the Dhammas for themselves. And furthermore, giving an opportunity for the householders to perform meritorious activities which will enhance their knowledge and practice. And that's how the Vasa started, or Pansa started. So that was out of compassion to the lay followers and out of compassion to the monastics. The Buddha made this rule that every monk should observe this Vasa every year. Every year, it's become a rule. And on the day when the Vasa starts, the monks and nuns would say, Emasaming avase imang te ma sang vasang upema. During this 3 months' time, I would stay here in this dwelling place. And the activities normally happens during this Vasa, beginning of the Vasa or beginning of the Pansa, and there this is called the offering the bathing or rain bathing robes called Vasavasika Sadoka, Pa Apnam Phon in Thai, to the monastics, and some candles, and will also offer some other necessities. Now, after this offering, monks will make that resolution that they will stay in one place for certain period, like a 3 months time, and in that making of vows, disciples or lay devotees also take this opportunity to take some dedicated life, let's say by observing 8 precepts for 3 months time, or try to observe 5 precepts for whole 3 months very strictly, or offering dana, or learning the Dhamma, or practicing, or even try to take some vows that they will not do during that time. So that's why it is a very important platform, this 3 months retreat time, or the Vasa, where the monks and the lay devotees work together, and there will be mutual activities that also brings the mutual spiritual progress and mutual understanding of the Buddha's teachings. And with this, we'll have a good relationship between the monastics and lay devotees. Right? So that is the benefit of the rains retreat or the Vasa. Now, along with that Vasa, now as I have said, that that was the beginning of the Vasa, it relates to 2 different events. That is, one, Asala Puja, second is the Vasa. And during this Vasa time, again, for the monastics, monks will go to visit senior monks and then ask forgiveness from one another, and which is very beautiful ceremony that in Buddhism have. Normally, whenever we feel upset or when we feel not happy, we will harboring this dissatisfaction and a hate, and there will be no chance of going in a discussing or a talking, because the talking is so important to dispel our disappointments and misunderstanding. Now here, the Buddha gave beginning of the Vasa, all the junior monks should visit senior monks and ask for forgiveness and guidance. At the same time, the senior monks also ask permission or ask forgiveness too, by saying, if I may have done something wrong, please forgive me. Yeah? And which is very important tradition that will help to release from all those misunderstandings. Similarly, on the Pavarana, which is the end after the 3 months time, the end of the Vasa, is called a Pavarana, okay? And which this month, this year, we're going to have it in this month on 21st of October. And this again, this Pavarana day normally falls on October time. This Pavarana is known as the invitation ceremony in English. And this is the first ceremony, and the second ceremony comes the KATINA. This Pavarana is also another very important ceremony. It's called invitation ceremony. Now, as we are living together in one monastery for a long time, for 3 months, we're doing activities together, studying together, and eating together. Whenever we are living together, it is inevitable that we'll not have some frictions. And because of our thoughts, because of our understanding, because of our misunderstanding, because of our ego, and so on, it is always possible have some frictions. And these frictions comes because of some egos that is we have. And at the end of the vasa, we are simply coming face to face and asking that if you have seen that I have done anything wrong to you, or anything that my career or my behavior is wrong, or if you have heard that I have done something wrong, or I have done something wrong to you, or if you have a doubt that I may have done something wrong, or I may have done something wrong to you, please forgive me, please admonish me. And this is a very important practice, which comes even in a psychology, a deep listening and forgiving. And these two practices help to merge into or having this good bond in the monastics. And this also we can practice in our daily life, in activities, in lay people too. So that's how the Sangha binds together with this mutual understanding and mutual respect that one another have. And this is also a form of building the confidence in the community. Now, one thing I would like to stress here, normally nowadays, a Sangha, now particularly in the West, the word Sangha has been used to say that any group of a community, particularly those who are practicing the Dhamma, they try to form as a Sangha, saying that this is a Sangha. Yes, it is true that in Buddhism there are 4 different types of a Sangha. One is called the monks and nuns, and another is called the lay devotees, upasaka and upasikas. And whole 4 different communities are known as the Sangha. But when we look at the Pali term and the concept, nowadays we should be taking Sangha means monastics, not the lay followers. But anyway, this is just another thought. Now, this Pavarana or invitation ceremony is very important. If there is no one who observes the pansa or vasa, and no one performs this Pavarana, then there will be no KATINA. So KATINA is a result of a monk observing the vasa and performing the invitation ceremony. And that's how KATINA is possible. And from the day when the Pavarana is done for 1 month, it is known as a KATINA month. And this KATINA can be organized in that temple. Okay? So in that one temple. So that's what a KATINA is, in a way, is a communal activity appreciating both parties, like appreciating a monk and appreciating lay devotees. So it's like a celebration of after 3 months' time, we have done activities together, we have studied together, and we have developed our spiritual path, and now let's celebrate. So that's the Katina is like that. So it's basically a mutual celebration, appreciating one another, and that's the Katina. Now, this Katina, again, although it is a celebration, we have to remember that it is about only a piece of cloth. Okay, it is only about a piece of cloth, not anything else. Right? Now, Katina, when we look at the meaning of the Katina, it is a wooden frame. As we know, not like nowadays we can get lots of clothes. We can go and buy whenever we want. But in those days, clothes are very expensive and luxurious to have one. I even remember when I was a child in Nepal, we used to have a very little clothing, and then the clothes always pass through our brothers and sisters. So whoever a junior, they will get the 1-year-old cloth or 2-year-old clothes like that, and we were so happy. And think about 2000 years ago, the clothing were very expensive and a luxury. And it happened that being a monk, they have to go and collect from the charnel grounds, cemeteries. And that's why it's called a bangsukula or bangsukul. Yeah? And again, a bangsukul here, we have to remember, it's not bangsukula only for the dead people. It's not about dead people or alive people. It is about monk is collecting a piece of cloth from charnel ground. And before getting it, monks are simply thinking of monks having this reflection that they are not stealing it, but taking it. And out loud it is saying that I'm taking it to use it. So all those pieces of clothes collected and making a robe was not easy. So that's why in the temples they have a set of this wooden frame. And in the Katina time, they will bring that frame and sew and make a robe. And that's why it is known as the Katina. And Katina, another sense, it is also a word means difficult. Now, obviously, it is a difficult in those days because you have to find the clothes and you have to work together to make a robe together. And a Katina, again, as I have said, it is nothing more than a piece of cloth, a piece of chivara. It could be all the three, and that is the chivara, sangati, and antaravasaka or sabong, or if a devotee is willing to offer only one piece of it, let's say it is only antaravasaka or the sabong, that can be a katina too. But now this katina has been fully transformed. It is not much emphasized on the robe, rather on raising funds. And it is again, it is obvious that will support the temples. Okay? Now, the origin of this, the question may come, that why do we have to perform this katina? The origin was that during the time of the Buddha, there were 30 monks, wandering monks, traveling from one city to another, and they thought that they had time. So they traveled, but unfortunately they couldn't arrive where the Buddha was. So they had to stay in one village, which is far away, 6 yojanas which is probably around 50 to 60 kilometers away from where they were. So it was full moon, so they had to take a vasa there. But their minds were always thinking of the Buddha, longing to see the Buddha. And as soon as the vasa ended, they traveled to see the Buddha, despite of the muddy road and the swamps. With that, their robes were fully soaked. And their robes were fully soaked, and they didn't have a robe to change. And some of the monks were having very dirty robes. And with that, a Buddha said that, okay, now on, I allow you to make a KATINA robe. And that was the beginning of a KATINA robe. And the importance of the KATINA robe offering is again that the Buddha laid down certain rules that it can be organized, or it can be offered only once a year at any one temple. So you cannot perform KATINA twice in one temple. You can do only once. And again, this should be offered only during this KATINA season, which is around October, November time, not before or after. So it's like a full moon in October and a full moon in November. So in between this time, only you can offer this KATINA robe, and that's why it's very special. And further on, this KATINA again can be offered only to a group of monks, more than 5 monks. Only more than 5 monks, then you can offer this KATINA. If less than 5 monks, then this KATINA cannot be offered. Now, question may come, living in the West, it's called the West, where monks are very difficult to find, and some temples have only 1 monks. Then would it be possible to organize a KATINA? Now here, it can. Okay, we can organize the KATINA by inviting other monks, having 5 monks. So other temple, inviting from other temple and having a Sangha as a 5 monks. Then we can organize the KATINA. So even though in one temple a monk is observing the vasa, and he fulfills the vasa, and he fulfills the Pavarana without breaking this 3 months retreat, then he can invite monks from other temples, at least of 4, so that it makes 5 monks. And then that temple will have a KATINA ceremony. And now again, KATINA, monks cannot organize. Right? Monks cannot organize. KATINA should be organized after a lay devotee has said or took a initiative saying that, okay, Venerable Sir, this year I would like to offer a KATINA. And only then monks can announce. Monks cannot say to any particular person that, would you like to be a KATINA sponsor? So monks cannot even hint that, okay, this year, would you like to, I'm looking for a KATINA sponsor, like that. Monk cannot say. Having seen that the vasa been started, and KATINA no one has said anything for the KATINA, then a devotee should approach to a monk and saying, Venerable Sir, I would like to take a initiative on offering a katina. Then, if there is no one who has accepted or who has given this commitment, then that monk should accept that, okay, by saying sadhu. And after that, monk can speak. A monk can tell other people that this year we are going to have a katina. So on behalf of the temple, monks can write invitation letters or saying that, okay, we are going to have a katina. So that's why this is a very important part of the ceremony, and it's very important. And here offering again, it can be done only to a venerable monk or community of the monks, or more than 5 monks. The beauty here again, that when a disciple is offering the robe, and the robe, okay, particularly a robe, this robe being offered to a community of the monks, more than 5 monks, it is not belongs to anyone. That's why it is said, this robe or this piece of cloth has fallen onto the middle of our community like fallen from the sky. Yeah? And then with that, monks are deciding to whom this robe should be offered. And monks will investigate that a monk who has observed the vasa or not, who's been observing the vasa, whether he has fulfilled or not, without any breaks, or has he done any Pavarana or not, and is he qualified? And after investigation, if he is qualified, then the venerable monks would say that after the consideration, this monk has fulfilled all the requirements, and now I will announce that this robe will be given to or offered to this particular monk. Please accept this proposal. And all the monks have to accept that proposal and then offer. And after offering, the monk who receives a piece of cloth, whether it is sangati, whether it is robe, or whether it is only sabong, he has to change and thank and appreciate and bless. So that is the beauty here. It's a very democratic way of offering this robe to a particular monk. And that's why offering this katina has got a double merits, particularly for the lay people. Number one, you are offering to a community of the monks, not to any particular monk, to a community of the monk, which the Buddha said that offering to the community of the monk has got more merits than to anybody else. So that's the number one. And the number two, community of the monk is offering to a qualified one. That's a double merit is there. So that's why the katina is regarded as kala dana, right? The timely offering offer. So this is what is the importance of the katina. And now this katina time is coming up during this time. And now the concept of a katina has changed significantly. Although it wasn't related to any other material things, it was purely started by just for the piece of cloth. And nowadays, due to the modernity and due to the maintenance of the temples or constructions of the temple, it's coming together with the raising funds to maintain the temple or to support the temple. And as a result of that, nowadays, whenever there is a katina, people will be thinking of this much of amount we have to raise, that much of amount we have to raise, and which is completely different understanding. Our understanding should be, we are offering the katina as a robe main, and all the donation that we can accumulate, we can bring, that is to support the temple. That is the second priority, not the first priority. Our intention should be on a robe, not on the budget. Okay? But this is quite a different issue at the moment. But every temple do need support from all devotees. But we have to understand that Katina supposed to be offering a robe, and all other basic requisites are, whether it is money or whether it is any other basic needs, are just a minor to support the temple. Right? So this is the concept of the Katina robe offering, which is again important tradition in Buddhism that we all should know and should practice with right understanding. So that's why the Katina, it relates 4 different activities. One is the Asala Puja, the day when the Buddha gave the first discourse, and the second, the beginning of the Pansa or the Vasupanayika, and then the third one is the Pavarana, the day when the end of the retreat, which the monk should have performed this invitation ceremony, and with that, the end is a celebration of the Katina, offering the robe to a venerable Sangha community, and from the Sangha to a particular monk. So this is the talk. I would like to end here, and if anyone has got anything to ask, please do so. With this, may you all be well and happy. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you for your good health and successful life. So I will leave a couple of minutes for you to ask questions if anyone has got anything to ask. Nisa, would you like to add something on it? Thank you for listening.
No, I don't have anything to add. These are all kind of new. I only know the Vasa, the rainy retreat. But yeah, that's. Thank you for giving me a new perspective and how important is the Katina. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, anybody else? Offering. It's called a bathing cloth. It is called bathing cloth. So wasawasika. Sorry, Jenny, can you? Oh, yes. There is no specification. There is only said that it is a bathing cloth. It's called a wasawasika sadoka, which is normally a decent size that you can use it to replace your sabon, antaravasaka. So you can change it for having a bath. Like in the past, monks had to go to take a bath in the river or wells, and those days, so they have to change. And having just a one piece of antaravasaka or a sabon, it would be very difficult for them to have a bath in the river. So having seen that, then I think it was a Visakha Mahaupasika and decided get the permission from the Buddha to offer this a piece of cloth, which is a decent size that you can replace your sabon. your Antaravasaka. So that size. And this is called a bathing cloth. So this is will offer on the day of Vasa, a beginning of the Vasa, so that monks can change when they go to have a bath in the river. Do you understand? Okay. No, that's why beginning of the Vasa nowadays, we don't have to have those bathing clothes as it was in the past. Sorry. And as a result of that, nowadays, rather than offering only piece of sabong or antaravasaka, they will offer a set of a robe. Even in Thailand, many temples still have to change this bathing cloth. Like I remember when I was in Wat Phra Nam, we were in a group, like all the novices. We have to take a bath in a commune. So everybody will go and have a bath there. So we have to change our sabongs every day. Yeah? So we have to have an extra bathing cloth, uh, and that is required. Otherwise, we will have no where to nothing to wear. So, but in Thailand nowadays, because of this advance and prosperity of robes, normally they will offer you a set of a robe, and which it has got a sabong as well, and so you can use it as a bathing cloth. But the KATINA is a different. In the KATINA day, again, it's supposed to be only piece of cloth. Okay? It's supposed to be only piece of cloth, and you again, this can be done in a three-piece, like it is a chivara, sangati, and sabong, all three, or just one piece of a cloth can be offered. And again, in the past, it wasn't offered as a robe; it was offered as a white cloth. And this white cloth, again, in a size that you can make the robe, or in a size that you can make it as a sangati, or in a size that you can make it as a sabong or antaravasaka. And that was the instruction. And then after you have received this white cloth, then all the monks come together and dye it into dye it as a colored. It's called a saffron color, and which is again more of a like the saffron after you have used this bark trees and cooked it, and it become a saffron. And after that, you are cutting it into pieces and sewing it together, and that's how you're making a robe. And again, you may have a question. In the past, it was difficult to have robes. So from different pieces, you are connecting together and making a robe. After lay devotees began to offer, it was a piece of cloth. Then why you still have to cut it and make a robe? And it was because those days it was difficult to find the piece of cloth. And now if you are using a big piece which is uncut, then people may come and steal. Suppose the monks are wandering, and then monk will be beaten and taken the robe away from him. So that's why Buddha took initiative, the new idea, cutting it to make it small pieces, so that monks will have a safety, and the people will not steal from them, from monk. That was the beginning. And in the past, because monks have collected different pieces of cloths from charnel grounds and different places and making a robe, it wasn't nice. And because of that, Buddha gave Ananda a task, saying that Ananda, okay, you design the robe. So Ananda was the first designer. who designed the robe. And probably this robe, I normally say that this is the oldest design that is still in use. And this was designed by the Ananda in 2,600 years ago. So that much old, but it's still up to date. This robe, monks will be using it to see a beggar or to see a normal people or even to the king. Still the same robe, not like lay follow householders. You have to change according to the events that you are attending. But this one, all seasons. This all season robe. Okay. Anyone? Mm. Okay. So I think it's time to say goodbye. Yeah. And thank you very much for listening. And I hope you gain and a katina and this tradition so that you can do it with full intention and attention and gain a great merit. With this, may you all be well and happy. Uh, May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you for your good health and successful life. So thank you. Namo